Hello from a rather grey and drizzly old shop, or at least just down the lane from the old shop. Now, I haven't brought you to this track before. It's on the other side of the road from the heath and the woods that we've been to before, more than once. Very muddy at the moment, as you can see. A special day for me because it is the day 3 years ago, which is an awfully long time, but a huge amount has happened in that time. Anyway, 3 years ago that I made an offer on the old shop, and 3 years ago yesterday that I first saw it in a part of Norfolk I hadn't really known very well or considered living in. And I certainly didn't know about this heath or woods just down the lane for a while, actually, because when I came to look at the house, I was happy enough to have found my way down the lane and found the right place. I didn't go beyond, and actually you have to go a little further down to find the heath. So it was about the third time, I think, of coming over here that I overshot the cottage by mistake, and I realised I'd gone too far, and suddenly I was among gorse on each side of the road and bright yellow flowers, and yes, oh my goodness. So I'd already said I'd like the cottage, and that's before I even knew about this. Obviously I knew I was close to the sea, but I didn't know about the heath at all. So anyway, the reason for coming over this side today is that I was told by a neighbour just from down the road, who I bumped into on the heath, on the other side of the heath, that this part of the heath, or at least the part we're just going to be walking over to in a moment, I think, could be this part as well, is the only remnant left of the actual named heath, named after the village. And the other heath that I go to, its real name is Crosswhite Heath, which is on a different village. So although it's very confusing, I suppose it's just how the parish boundaries lie. Anyway, so this may well be where the gypsies, the Romanies, in the old black and white photograph that I have, it may be that it's actually on this side of the road where they camped, and it's particularly likely given the little area we're just going to be finding in a minute when we get through the woods. One of the reasons I don't tend to come to this part of the woodland is not because it's muddy, because it's not always muddy, but because it's very close to houses. It's such a tiny little bit, and I just was quite disappointed really, and I just thought, I don't want to be so close to habitation. I like a bit of wildness. It is quite wild actually inside, as you can see. But anyway, so that's why I don't really tend to come over here, and I hadn't really kind of appreciated for a while that it's actually a footpath that takes you right through this part and then right onto a lane. It kind of cuts off a big corner onto another lane, which I do know now, but I didn't know to start with. Anyway, when you come out through this part, and I'll speed up a little bit because I don't want this part of the video to be too long. Lovely to see the holly, isn't it? And I expect you noticed the snowdrops at the beginning of the video, which are just coming up now. It'll be a little while before they're properly in flower, but I do remember from previous years there are quite a lot in this bit of woodland. Anyway, so out we come. The bank at the edge here is quite interesting. That usually means something's quite old, as you can see there. Anyway, when we come out from this woodland bit, I hope you can hear because it's a bit blustery. I'll make it quite short, this bit here. You find yourself on this flat grassy area, and the path goes, as you can see there, goes straight through, and it goes through a few like a little plantation of more recent trees on the other side. It comes out on the lake. There's some quite old trees at the edges here. There's some oaks on that side there, and this is a beech tree, as you can see. If I can find one of the beech moss there. So it is quite out. I think it's quite an old place. And look at this hole in the bottom of the beech tree. I'll just show you. This is one. I've just noticed it. That's fabulous, isn't it? Anyway, so what I'm thinking is it could well be that this flat area is where the Romanies set up a camp, because I think it was common land, which why I think the footpath goes straight across it as it does. And also it could well be the fairgrounds, the fairland for the fair, which I was mentioning before, Lady Day Fair I've discovered that was held here, and that presumably from medieval times, although I haven't got any sort of data on that at all, but they are normally, when they're associated with saints' days like that, they're normally medieval in origin, and or if not before. And they are also it would have been enjoyed into Victorian times, possibly beyond, because they were a lovely marker in the agricultural year, your own village's fair day. And as I said on the previous video, they were tended to be associated with different saints' days, so you'd have your own special one. And here it was Lady Day, which is 25th of March, which is a lovely time of year for a fair, I should have thought. And I like to have this romantic notion of the Romany's coming back up here for that, and perhaps doing some horse trading, some other kinds of wheeling and dealing, and perhaps there being gypsy fortune tellers and others who had things to sort of trades to ply, things they'd made perhaps at the fair. So all of that is yes, it's a bit of a figment, a bit of a stretch of imagination now, but it's I don't know, it's all part of the landscape here, isn't it? It's part of your own locality. It's lovely to uncover little bits of it, and especially that little kind of nugget there that I suddenly thought, well, I wonder whether that open area, now I've discovered it, could well be the site of the old fair. So I think that's all I wanted to show you down here. I'm really quite mindful of the fact it's this anniversary of finding my home here, and we'll have a little bit later inside because I've got a lot to do I don't know why I haven't got around to it, but anyway, I haven't really got around to sorting out some of the rooms that would be very easy to sort out if I just put my mind to it, and I want to do that just during this part of the moon cycle, because you're on a waxing moon. It's a good time to get on with things, have some energy. I have got plenty of energy. I think it's just what use you put that energy to, really. The things you actually feel like doing. But anyway, I shall feel loads better once I get a couple of the rooms sorted out. So I shall show you also. That'll spur me on a bit if I know I'm going to show you what I've been doing. So I'll do that as well. So that's it. Hope you've enjoyed this little glimpse of the woodland. And all woodlands are magical, and it is however tiny, it is rather magical. So, and it's in its winter bareness, lots of birches and holly, and the track winding through. So I hope you enjoy seeing that, and we may come here again, not sure, but for now I'll see you later. Well, hello again. I'm not sure whether it's going to be too dark to see properly in here, really, and I haven't done what I said I was going to do, which was to really sort things out in here, but you can't really see the things I didn't do, like washing the floor, so I will do that tomorrow. And I thought, well, I did say I'd come into here, so I'll just quickly have a very quick whiz round, because if you saw what the house was like when I first saw it 3 years ago, it is actually very different. And one thing which is very different is the fireplace here, which I've got a little wood burner in. It had a Victorian fireplace in. I think it was real, the actual cast iron grate bit, but it had a not very nice modern sort of fake surround on it. And well, it just wasn't very nice. And I've always had a wood burner, and I find them really efficient and lovely. So as you can see, it's a really nice little one. It's second hand, but it was almost new, so it was a really good deal. And the builders who are here had such a lot of I just don't even want to go there, what happened with the builders. But one of them, who was actually the father of the main builder, who was a very nice man, and he did a lot of the work on this fireplace actually, and when we pulled out the surround, he rebuilt inside here where he needed to with the old bricks, and finished it off, and he exposed this bit here with the arch, and anyway, he did a lovely job actually. So, and and laid a hearth, so it looks much more cottagey. It looked Victorian, but not cottagey Victorian, if that makes sense. So also it had a concrete floor with carpet, and I don't want to just look too close at the floor at the moment, it needs a good wash, but I had put floorboards down and painted them, so it's actually just over concrete, but I just prefer a floor like that. I'm not going to show you everything in here because we'll come back, but I did say we'd have a little look round, so will show you this lovely chair, because this was my grandmother's chair. I've had it for years. Well, she died in 1993, I think, so I've probably had it since then. Anyway, I stripped it down and took off the satin upholstery and just had it with a little cushion on. So I've had that for years, and I'm really fond of that chair. And as I say, not going to do a full tour or anything like that, but we'll just have a little whiz round. A few favourite things, like my hedgehog painting, who is a gypsy hedgehog, which is a bit of a clue for the next project, and the Christmas decoration that I couldn't bear to take down, and my very special mirror, which is pretty worse for wear, but I love it, kind of magic mirror. Not that fond of the lamp, but it'll change when I get round to changing it. And I had a really posh sofa, because when I moved here, I thought I'd have 3 kind of really good things. One was a new sofa, one was a new bed, and one was a work table. Now the sofa I never sat on, actually, and I don't sit on the futon really, but it was upstairs, so I brought it down, and I ended up selling it because I just needed the money, and it was so new that it was, if I was going to sell it, it was the time to sell it. And the futon, I don't actually sit on it particularly, but it does fill the space up, and it could be used as a spare bed as well. So what I do sit on is this sofa here, which is a charity shop sofa, and also more often than not this little poof by the fire, which is my usual place to sit, and this little coffee table I have a lot of my meals and drinks on. And just lastly, the last thing I was going to show you is this blanket, which if you are a friend of mine already, and you might be somebody who contributed a square to this blanket, because after I was bereaved and had to leave my home and all the stuff that happened, I had this lovely surprise parcel arrive for me in the place I was renting for the winter, and it was this blanket, and this had been made as a surprise by lots and lots of my friends and people I had never met, but people I knew from Facebook and social media, as well as people I did know. It's really dark, I don't think you'll be able to see it. Well, I'm sure it'll be shown again at some point, but yeah, it's really cosy, and it was made as a sort of warmth-giving, beautiful warmth-giving gift, and it certainly does that. I had it in the caravan when I was living in the caravan, and now it's just warming up the place for winter. So that's just a quick whiz round, and we're back to the fire, and I'm sure that there will be more to talk about another time, but if you did see what things were like when I was first here, then you might be interested to see how cosy it can look on a winter's evening. So anyway, I hope you do have a lovely evening, and keep warm and cosy, and I'll be back and have another little tour around, or we'll do something else again very soon.